Hello, everyone. I can't believe the day is almost over, with this being our second to last session. Thanks so much for all your energy today. You have all been so much fun and really, really, truly the best audience. Thank you for sticking with up on the technical issue with Anne. We went through this as troops. Okay, let's keep it up with this exciting session, looking at the future of brand experience and content marketing with our super panel of women. I'm so excited to be joined by Samantha Lerner-Coburn, VP Marketing at Obsess, and Margarita Loktionova, Content Lead at Semrush. Did I say it correctly? Yes.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Yeah. Success. Okay, we're going to try and cover everything from immersive experiences, thanks to cutting edge technologies, AI for content marketing and SEO, and how it can all elevate your brand to new heights. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. I'll let you both quickly introduce yourselves and your companies, and then I'll come back. So maybe Samantha, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. So my name is Samantha. I go by everything, and I am the VP of Marketing at Obsess. I've been with Obsess for a little over a year now, but most of my work previously or prior to Obsess was really on the brand side, and I was working with fashion and travel and food brands. And really my passion there is marrying strategy with great innovation so that we tell the really beautiful stories through content. And just to give you a bit of background on Obsess, because I'm not sure if everyone here has heard of Obsess, we are a software platform that creates 3D immersive experiences for some of the biggest brands and retailers in the world. And we are such a visual platform that rather than tell you, I think it would be better if I actually show you. So I'm just going to share my screen for a quick video.
That's amazing.
Here we go. Amazing. So while this video plays, and feel free to watch it and not listen to me at all because it's far more interesting, but really Obsess was created to bridge the gap between traditional e-commerce and physical retail. So if you think about the typical e-commerce interface today, it's kind of the same as what Amazon built to sell books 25 plus years ago. It's a flat grid of thumbnails. There's maybe some images on a plain background, maybe some videos, but the format for e-commerce is pretty much the same, whether you're selling $2 toothpaste on Amazon or you're selling $2,000 handbags on your luxury goods site. So Obsess was really created to take that generic grid-like interface and convert it into something that's super visual, super creative, really contextual, and kind of custom designed to every brand's guidelines. As you can see here in these lovely examples from some of my favorite brands, we use elements of gamification, we use interactive content, CGI rendered media, to create these immersive experiences. And we work with brands of all kinds, from This is Crate & Barrel, who we recently launched with, to J. Crew, Armani Beauty, Ralph Lauren, Charlotte Tilbury, NBC Universal, you name it. And these experiences are 100% web-based, so they can be accessed from your phone, they can be accessed from your browser. They live on a brand's website, so you don't need a device, you don't need a headset, you don't need an app. It's really accessible, and it really makes immersive experiences ready to go for all.
It's beautiful. That was great. I love Obsess. I've known you for quite some time, and I think it's one of the most amazing experiences out there. So I'm happy that I have you here with us and joining us. Margarita, the stage is yours.
Sure. Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here. So I work as a content marketing lead at Semrush. I mean, for those of you guys who don't know, we are a competitive intelligence platform, and we're, among other things, we offer SEO and content tools. And I specifically work with AI content writing solutions. And I also work as a guest professor in business schools in Spain. Yeah, and I'm based in Barcelona. And so, I mean, in those 8+ years that I've been working in tech content, I think I've seen lots of changes, in content and SEO, and I've seen it evolve a lot. And I feel like AI is definitely one of the most exciting changes that we've seen. And I kind of feel like it's not going to fundamentally change the way we approach content and the things that really work, but it's kind of going to enhance it and modify the way we organize our work and what we believe is possible. So yeah, happy to share some of my thoughts on this one.
All the things we're going to cover in a second. So before we start, we have a quick poll that we wanted to share with the audience. We wanted to run with the audience. So guys, we have a poll coming up. Which emerging technology are you planning on using or testing to help you improve brand experience in 2024? Is it going to be augmented reality? Is it going to be virtual reality, artificial intelligence, AI, chatbots, and conversational interfaces, or none of that? This is why I am here. Let us know what you think in the poll. We'll share those results later as you do it. I'm going to give you few minutes to kind of like do that. But we're going to come back to it after the session. Okay, so let's kick it off. First question to you, ladies. In creating engaging brand experience, how can AI and immersive experiences be harnessed to enhance your content strategy and audience engagement? I don't know. Sam, do you want to start?
Yeah, happy to start. So first, I love this question. And, at Obsess, our partners really have a wide variety of goals. But at the end of the day, most of them, I'm assuming like many of you, want to complete two high-level things. They want to build really great engagement with audiences, and they want to drive sales, because at the end of the day, we love driving sales. And immersive experiences are sort of, in my opinion, the next generation of digital content. We live in a 3D world, but we spend the majority of our hours, or at least I do, on the internet, which is totally 2D, or for the most part 2D. And it seems inevitable that these immersive sort of dynamic environments that we live in the real world will eventually make their way into the 2D environment that we spend so much of our time on. In addition to that, we know that 80% of today's consumers, at least in the US, are actually playing video games. And for Gen Z, this number is even higher. So these are gaming fluent consumers that really expect every piece of content that they digest, no matter what it is, to be super visual, super interactive, and extremely gamified. And that's why immersive experiences, to me, are an amazing first step in creating more interactive web-based content.
You know what's funny? We had our CEO speak just a few hours ago, and he said exactly that. Like, there's something about gamification right now that is like trending in a way, because again, we're talking to a Gen Z generation and millennials. That's what they're expecting. We're expecting the same way. They're consumers wherever they are, so they want to be delivered in the same experience that they get where they shop, where they play, where they read, where they get their information, and so forth. That's super interesting. Margarita, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I would add on the AI side of things and the content marketing. So I feel like, on the one hand, I think regardless of the technology we use, like the essence of content marketing will stay the same. It still is going to be about genuine, original, like content that's based on real life experience. But I feel like AI will have a direct impact on the way we organize the content production process. So basically it allows us, on thing number one, to scale our content production. But it's not just about creating more content faster. I think AI can help us also improve the quality of our content. And again, this is not just about the writing being better. I mean, to be honest, I did saw studies showing that people actually prefer AI generated marketing copy, but I think it's much more for me. I think this increase in quality might happen because AI can analyze vast amount of data. And, so brands, when researching content, can literally ask AI to analyze their audience and suggest, content ideas, trends, and so on and so forth that will be more relevant. Yeah, and pretty much, yeah, like enhancing this content research. And number two is making content more personalized, again, because AI can help us analyze customer data, we can create more like tailored content experiences. And, and like I could talk about it a lot. It also goes into SEO, because it can make some SEO tasks like copy optimization, I don't know, like 10 times faster. So yeah, I feel like it can help brands to communicate more effectively, at every stage of the buyer's journey, create content that's more relevant, more data-driven, more personalized. And I think with the right approach and like humor or oversight, this content can even increase in quality.
I love that, and it goes back to everything that we said before. But I think that again, in the sea of quantity, quality can be better because you're using the AI for the quantity part and the qualitative part that you don't have time to do, and then from that you extract the context in which you want to convey, and then you augment it with a reality that is a bit more kind of like engaging. So all of this speaks to everything that we spoke about today, which is like just a 2.0 of content and storytelling in the next future, which is super interesting. So second question to you girls is, reflecting on your experiences, what strategy have you found most effective in incorporating both immersive experiences and AI into the content creation process to boost brand visibility? I don't know if you want to say anything about this. Maybe Margarita, you want to start if you have anything?
Yeah, sure. I mean, So I would say in terms of the strategy, the first thing, and I think I'm going to repeat it a couple of times, is then,
Yeah.
like, please just like, don't expect AI to do everything for you. And I think on the one hand, if you don't use AI, you as a marketeer, as a brand will probably, you will probably lose to your competition because they will be more efficient than you are. But at the same time, expecting AI to create the whole content strategy for you, create all the content, it's also not realistic and it can damage your brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like the sweet spot is combining AI with this human oversight and with original insights. I mean, number two that I would mention is, people that, especially that I hear people that are just starting to use AI, sometimes they get frustrated, because, well, they don't get an immediate results and they don't understand how to get a better result. And I think it's a good idea to kind of approach it like a conversation with a human. Well, when you work with a human writer or a marketing specialist, you would write a detailed brief. You would expect them to ask questions and make comments, and then you will edit and check the draft. So it's pretty much the same with AI. If you write prompts, well, the prompts have to be specific, simple but detailed, or often so it will have to be multi-step prompting. And it's again because that's more or less the same. It's similar to how a human brain works, right? Like you have to talk to AI, you have to teach it. And well, techniques that, well, are pretty well known that I use could be things like, well, I show a lot, let's say, samples of my writing and like our brand writing so that it understands our tone of voice. I would add context by saying that, let's say, act as a writer, act as a researcher, and yeah, and I try to um, make prompts like really simple and yeah, simple to follow, but detailed, so like I don't miss out any details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And like the last thing I would say is, like, there are many out of the box uses of AI that we don't necessarily think of. Well, obviously you can use it to write content, rewrite it, but you can actually, well, you can ask AI, give it the keywords and ask it to analyze your copy. You can upload the data from your Google Search Console and ask it to find like content gaps. You can ask it to write your content strategy if you give it the right input. So yeah, I think like looking for those out of the box use cases and also educating your employees that, that AI can be used in different ways, and raising the awareness inside the company is super important.
I love that. And by the way, what you touched right now about how to kind of like educate or kind of like guide your AI, it's exactly what people, it goes with exactly what everybody said before. It's about that conversational element and not expecting it to kind of like come up with the first try, it's going to be perfect copy. No, it's not. It's not going to be the first perfect answer. You need to be able to educate them and go back and forth with the chat, with the AI to do that. So that makes total sense. And again, to your point, like where are the gaps that we have right now and how can AI help us in those gaps right now? What analytics thing that we don't know have time to do because it's going to take us 20 hours, AI can do it in 1 minute, and then we can go ahead and kind of like, quantify that in the way that makes the most sense. I love that. Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love what you're saying, and I'm learning a lot too, honestly, to take back to my marketing team. But I think one of the things that you said, Margarita, about sort of teaching AI and giving it a detailed brief as you'd give a human, as you'd give a creative or whoever it may be. You're looking for a creative brief to be really detailed for the AI tool or for whoever you're teaching in person, because you want the end output to be super digestible content that a consumer can read on the other end. As marketers, I think we make content that we want people to understand really quickly because there's only so much attention that we can get from them. And attention span is being pulled in so many directions all the time. I learned the other day that I think the average person's attention span is about 5 seconds now, which is insane because it used to be somewhere along the lines of 12. But we all, sorry.
I've heard 3 sometime. I've heard 3
Yeah, no, exactly. I think TikTok, all these things, making it even shorter. And I think as a challenge for marketers, for brands, for companies, we all need a way to capture attention and increase engagement. And that's the way to boost brand visibility. So one of the big strategies that we're sort of seeing at Obsess is gamifying those experiences, which we talked about earlier. And I think your CEO talked about earlier as well. People want to game, people want to play. There's something to be said about the fun of gaming, but it's also really exploratory. When you're gaming, you're discovering new things, you're spending extra time with whoever has created the game or the content that they've created. And that really sticks with people. In our virtual experiences, for example, we see that add to cart rates are 10x higher when you play a game within a virtual store. And that means something. And it's because you are spending time with this brand, you're getting to know its story, and you're really getting to know what they're about well past their product assortment.
Yeah, it's memorable. You make
Yeah.
a memorable impression. It's like you got an experience with this brand. So now it's not just like another card, another website that you're seeing. It's stuck out. There's context to that. I love that. I guess shifting to evaluation, what metrics do you recommend brands focus on when measuring the success and ROI of immersive technologies and AI-driven content strategies? Who wants to take it?
I'm happy to start. You know, from the immersive experiences side, and really at Obsess, the beauty of these immersive experiences is they can be anything. You can create them however you want. And so your KPIs can really vary, and you can vary the environment based on what your KPIs are. From our side, we really are looking at engagement and add to carts to checkout as some of the key metrics. So we're looking at things like time spent per user. In a traditional e-commerce environment, you want the time spent to be a lot shorter because you want people to find exactly what they need. But in a virtual environment, you want people to explore, you want people to play. And so you want that time spent to be higher. We also look at things like interactions per user, page views, add to carts. And in the end, we can kind of look how that all stacks up against checkouts. So in a recent survey that we did with a company called Coresight Research, we saw that virtual stores and immersive experiences provided 86% uplift for brands and retailers that implement them, which is insane. Even I was surprised by that number, and I believe in this wholeheartedly. So it's the proof is in the pudding. It's really about building your brand, telling the story, and then being able to give an environment that's easy to navigate and shoppable in the end.
Yeah. Margarita, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, definitely. This sounds amazing. Like, it definitely depends, you know. Let's say, in my case, when we're using AI specifically, I mean, there are kind of two things you could look at, right? And we just did a survey with over 2,000 of small business owners. It's not live yet, and it's going to go out there early next year in a Semrush report. But we pretty much saw like two super encouraging things, you know, that people report increase in, well, ROI per se because of using AI, increase and let's say their content ranks higher and faster. And then, you know, they get more engagement. So, well, on the one hand, you look at the metrics you would normally measure and see like if there's any evolution or change. But then the other half is obviously the can you cut costs using AI? And we also saw that, you know, for example, like the number of people who would be able to put together a blog post in 1 hour like went from 16% without AI to like 40% with AI.
Wow.
I mean, you know, it's like it depends. Like you don't necessarily have to only create it in 1 hour, but you can see exactly like the change. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I would say, you know, like if you want to see if AI is bringing you something, well, tangible to your business, then yeah, look at whether like the main content marketing metrics are increasing or like staying the same, or like what's the change. And if you're managing to cut costs. Yeah, and actually I think I just wanted to quickly jump on it. Like there was someone in the audience who asked if I saw like real life use cases of how AI helps SEO. I mean, yeah, well, first the survey actually confirmed that most of the people saw it list like from moderate to to significant increase in ROI and in rankings, and it like most of them managed to rank their AI generated content. And so the way it works here, you know, ChatGPT like doesn't really provide data, like real life data on keywords, right? So you still need to use tools like Semrush, or you need to like AI tools that have SEO data, like our tool, Content Shake. But the thing is, I mean, it kind of seems like, yeah, it just helps you to analyze data better. You know, for example, you can find your keywords, and then you can ask AI to brainstorm ideas or like headlines for those keywords. And then you can ask it to write content in those keywords. And then also you can submit, like you can upload your draft and ask AI to analyze the keyword density. So yeah, it just optimizes the processes. And there are like multiple ways you can use it. And I think, it can definitely have a positive impact on rankings.
Yeah, I think that it just, in a way, it acts as the experts matter in that specific one, like the technology expert, maybe someone like maybe you're a good content writer, but you're not necessarily an SEO expert. So this can allow you to kind of like, focus on what you need to do and just make sure that this is still relevant for the audience or for the purpose of what this SEO article needs to hit. In a way, what I think what I'm hearing from both of you is that on the one hand, it's like this metrics haven't changed as much. They've evolved. So again, it depends on the context. You want to look still on add to cart, or you're looking at time spent, or you're looking at like a scroll element, like scroll time and so forth. But again, based on the context, nothing has changed in this reality. On the other hand, what it does do is that it makes us all more efficient, more collaborative, make us a little bit more of a generalist in a way to focus on where we need, where the attention is needed, waste less time on things that are so tedious and not as important, or even outsource less when it's not needed, and actually focus on the work that needs to be done. So when with time efficiency, collaboration, it needs to be increased or decreased, right? It depends on that, and it helps us all as a team. It helps us individuals, and on the brand or the professional side, it helps us, or the customer side, it helps us like with the same metrics that we would look at. So again, nothing really changes. It sharpens, and it's more of a it's tuning in to the thing that we actually need to pay attention to, and the thing that actually are working in our favor. I guess zooming out a little bit, how can marketing teams strike a balance between custom and AI-driven content to create a unified and compelling brand narratives? What do you think?
If you'd like, I could start.
Yes, Margarita, please. Yes, of course.
Sure. So this is very central, I think, to AI in general, AI in content marketing. Because again, human-driven content, which original, that has original thoughts, real life experience. I think it is, and it will continue to be like the main success factor. So that's why combining AI with human work is the best thing you can go for. So we kind of need to see AI as a facilitator, as a data analysis, a tool that helps us save time. But I don't think it will. It can replace the writers. It can replace the strategists and the researcher. And for example, the way it could work. Right, you could feed AI information about your audience. You could ask it to come up with content ideas, and then you could use it to generate an outline or to create a draft. But then, for example, if you can also feed it, let's say, information about the case study of your client, or information from an interview with a subject matter expert, or an influencer, or some research that you have conducted. You can also conduct the research with AI, there are ways, right? But again, there should be some process, thinking behind it. And then I think when there's the synergy, then the results are the best. And then obviously, once the content is there, I think it's super important to still work with a human editor. Obviously you would want to tell AI about the tone of voice that you want to use and so on and so forth. But a human writer can kind of, can add storytelling there, can add the human touches. It can be humor, stories or information about the product. And then, I think together it creates a pretty good synergy.
Yeah, I love that. Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think, my team, like so many of yours, I'm sure, have been thinking a lot about this lately. And when it comes down to it, like we mentioned before, Michal, we're using AI to generate greater efficiencies in content and really kind of take the reins on low-hanging fruit. So it's content that's sort of a must-have in order to keep the lights on from a traditional marketing standpoint. So for example, my team at Obsess, we use AI to create content that is necessary to increase our crawlability on Google to up our SEO. But, we are not using AI, for example, when we're writing an op-ed to be put into the press. And that's the kind of thing where we really want to have that human touch. We want it to be more meaningful, and we want it to be true, because these are things that are really, people are looking for value. And I think you need that balance between, how do you make it very human, but you have to make it valuable. And I think AI does a good job of, as Margarita mentioned, bringing out the points that need to be mentioned in order to get those nuggets, but then adding the human touch around kind of the storytelling component.
I love that. Which I completely agree. I have nothing to add. This is why I'm not going to spend time. We have 5 minutes left, so I want to make sure that we answer the two remaining questions that I have for you today. How do you envision these technologies shaping the overall landscape of brand experience in the years to come? Sam, what do you think? I know we talked about this a little bit with virtual stores.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I mentioned it before, but to me, immersive experiences are just an inevitable evolution of content today.
Mhm.
We spend most of our time online, which is 2D. The world is 3D. I think previously we've spent time looking at things that were hyped, like the metaverse, which is even a little bit icky to me to say right now, because I think that concept didn't really end up playing out because it sounded really futuristic. It sounded really vague. No one really knew what it was. Frankly, it didn't have great content marketing around it. But what I love about immersive experiences is that it's something really tangible and it's something that doesn't have a barrier to entry. So it's really a web-based stepping stone into some of the things that the metaverse did promise, which I think are still very much real and people want. And that's immersive environments that are gamified and accessible to all.
Yeah, love that. What do you think, Margarita, from an AI perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, I'm going to repeat myself, but like just in terms
I
of
know.
kind of the trends or like the things that are going to happen, I think like one, yeah, well, actually, human content will become even more important. So like
I
for you,
agree.
like
I agree.
yeah, like adding this input, and yeah, it will differentiate you from the competition. So I'm not really anxious about, oh, the content input output will increase, because we don't even know how the SEO algorithms will change. Maybe in half a year, because of AI, the whole algorithm is revamped, and we don't know what's happening. But I assume that quality content will. This is the only thing that will remain for Google to prioritize, because Google's goal is, well, to provide people with relevant and good information. So that's something to focus on. But at the same time, I feel like AI can open many doors for business, especially for small businesses that have limited resources, because now like AI can still, well, yeah, provide access to this data and analytics, to copywriting capabilities that like never before we couldn't even imagine. Yeah, and the SEO landscape is, again, like I'm pretty curious about how it's going to evolve. And there are many changes already, like this upcoming Google's generative AI, which will basically look like AI generated feature snippets. And here, for example, the outcome is the same. You need to create content that's better structured, that has visuals and so on and so forth, so that people are still encouraged to click. But again, you can use AI to create those images. You can use AI to structure this content. So it pretty much kind of works well together. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's exciting for sure. We have 2 minutes left, so I want to wrap it up. But I want to have one more question before that. 2 minutes. To wrap up, what key takeaways or pieces of advice would you offer to brands looking to leverage the full potential of both immersive experience and AI-driven content in their marketing strategies? We have less than 1 minute, 2 minutes. Who wants to go first? Margarita.
Sure. Well, just like don't be afraid to experiment, and
Yeah.
don't and and again, spread the awareness to your employees, because especially in bigger companies, I think it's pretty common, for, let's say, for writers, for example, not even starting to use it because they might not see the value. And I think, and it's also from the standpoint of your career, if you're in content marketing, if you're in content writing, like I think the only way to stay competitive is like to use new technologies and not be afraid of them. And yeah, and at the same time, like there's nothing to be afraid of, because, well, our this human input will stay there. So it's just about making our job maybe a bit like easier, and like letting us focus on more like creating and fun things at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love that. What do you think, Sam? What's your words of
I
wisdom?
Yeah, I love that. And I would totally agree that don't let logic stand in the way of creativity in this case. Start exploring, start experimenting. The beautiful thing about where we are with technology today, whether it's AI, whether it's immersive experiences, is that you can kind of get as weird as possible and then take it one step further. The bounds are absolutely limitless, especially when it comes to creativity. And I think because consumers are looking for authentic, differentiated content, the weirder you get, you could have a much better result as in the end.
Again, it's standing out in the sea of the same. Ladies, we have 23 seconds left, and I really wanted to thank you both. It's been such a pleasure, the conversation. I know we haven't had a chance to talk to the audience about Q&As. We will aggregate some questions and share them over with you guys. We have really great ones. Thank you again for joining us today. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this session, and I will see you in our next and final one. Bye, everyone. Bye.